What's up, family? It's the first day of the fall back. People think that it's whack, but I think it's beautiful. The spring forward is when you lose the hour and whatnot, so we gain the hour. So as I say, everything's chicken but the bone because my black butt is at home. It's Sunday. It's another beautiful day to be alive. Shout out to those who are trying to be healthier. Shout out to those who are trying to get wealthier. Shout out to those who are supporting other people in this thing called the online sphere of social media, just by watching content, by liking content and commenting on people's content. It helps the algorithm, and therefore the social media algorithms, whether it's Facebook or TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, will push your content out more. So that's why we say thank you, strangers, for looking out for a brother, because you don't have to. And I leave it at that because, like I said, whenever I do see likes and comments and shares and subscriptions, it's always some strangers and not people that I know. So, hey, it's all good in the neighborhood. But yeah, we are officially in November now, November 2nd. Crazy times. 2025 is basically over with. So it's time to be working on our 2026 goals. And we got to get off of this thing called being economically on parole. I saw the post today. It wasn't a quote from Morgan Freeman, but it showed Morgan Freeman at different stages in his life. And he's like, hey, as a man, we go through breakups, we go through financial hard times, we go through losing friends, we go through losing family members, loved ones, whatever the case may be. But we know if we keep God first and we continuously work towards what we want to get done in this life, then everything for the most part should work out. And I just think that if we all wake up with some sort of purpose every day, things should work out. If we all do our best to be the best person that we can be, then things should work out. Even though it seems like, we live in a world where people just trample all over other people in order to get what they want. And a lot of times it shows, even in the social media world, people like that being victorious, So all I can say is I'm just giving love and respect to those who are righteous and who are about doing great things and who are about supporting other people because, we live in such a self-absorbed me culture and screw everyone else culture all at the same time. So shout out to those who are doing great things. But anyways, I just wanted to come on here and send some positive vibes. I was live yesterday on Instagram. I was about to go live again on Instagram, but most likely I'll go live on TikTok because nowadays I love to rant. And the way that my content used to be on Larry's Anything Goes is I would do, ever since this shut down, I don't have the time. It's funny, I don't have the time to really sit down and write up blogs and things of that nature like I used to. So now I'm at a point where I'd rather just speak off top of the head. I know I need to put another video out on my Patterson. Just thought about that Patterson or properties page. I will try to do that sometime this week. This weekend was a little bit more busier than I wanted it to be. Next weekend will not be, even though you have election day in Virginia. Don't care who you vote for, do what you got to do. I despise the person on the right, not because she's a Republican, but just because it's her. So that's the only reason why I voted for the other candidate is just because I'm from the state of Virginia. I've been here my whole life. The state of Virginia is going to be the state of Virginia. It's going to be the Commonwealth. You're going to have Northern Virginia. You're going to have Tidewater, Virginia. You're going to have Richmond, Virginia, where the capital is. And then you're going to have everywhere else because of the main parts of the state that have the most high income earners is Northern Virginia is number one. Tidewater, Virginia is number two. And then Richmond, Virginia is number three, where my dad is from. All right. Everywhere else is just busy suburbs of those specific major metropolitan areas. North Virginia is basically a major suburb of Washington, D.C. You have Richmond, where you have the regular suburbs and small towns surrounding Richmond. You have the seven cities, known as the Tidewater area, Newport News, Suffolk, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Newport News, Suffolk. What is the other cities? It's like I know that I always forget the other three cities. Yeah, it's like as far as the seven cities go. Let me go Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Suffolk, Hampton. The Newport News. And let me look up. I don't know why I can't remember because it's been so long since I've been down there. The seven cities of Tidewater, Virginia. Yeah. It's like I can never remember all the cities. Yeah, Chesapeake, Lord have mercy. Chesapeake, Hampton, Newport News, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Suffolk, Virginia Beach. Those 7 cities. All right. Which is considered the blackest part of the state of Virginia because, that's where the majority of the slave ships came into the state of Virginia at. But Lord, you think this being my home state, I would remember these places, but I know Southern California better than I know Virginia because I've spent more time in Southern California and actually, had more interest in learning more about Southern California. But anyways, yeah, so those are the parts of Virginia that matter. 7 cities: Richmond, Northern Virginia, which Northern Virginia consists of basically Prince William County, Fairfax County, Arlington County, City of Alexandria, and Loudoun County. So those are the main parts that cover outside of the DC metro area and all that good stuff. And then of course the other suburbs which have blown up: Stafford, Virginia, Fredericksburg, Virginia, where my first knows what it is, MMM. But anyways, so yeah, at the end of the day, that's what's happening this week. And then you have Veterans Day. Shout out to the veterans. And it's kind of a sad Veterans Day because, a lot of military personnel are not getting paid. So it'll be next Tuesday. So hopefully the government's open by then, so it could be more of a joyous occasion, specifically for our vets and our current military people serving in the United States military. So shout out to all of you all. And but anyway, so at the end of the day, we're in a new month. We're at the end of the year. And hopefully the economic uncertainty turns around, because no matter who's in the White House, Governor's House, and Mayor's House, I think any reasonable person wants things in the United States to work out. I don't think they want things in the United States to look like it did in 2007, 2008, where everything's in the crapper, because the U.S. economy is basically on the cusp of just basically being in the crapper, where, you just haven't, the only thing you haven't seen just yet would basically make it 2007 and 8 is the major foreclosure crisis, an eviction crisis. You already have a repo crisis and a default credit crisis happening right now, where people aren't able to pay for their credit cards, or if they do, they're making payments on them much later. And then of course, repos are up with a lot of cars, because it still boggles my mind where people paying up to $1,500 a month for a car. I don't understand that. And if it was a business and that vehicle was making you money, then I totally get it. But for just an everyday car for you to get to and from work, that'll never make sense to me. But to each his own. These are personal choices and not my choices. I'll leave it at that. But either way, I'm going to end this video off on saying let's try to keep it positive. It's Sunday. Drop something positive in the comment section. We have enough negativity online. I know the algorithm loves negativity. This is just me ranting. But yeah, try to keep it positive. Give it all you got to give, and get it how you live. You know what I mean? But because it's, like I said, it's crazy times that we're living in, and a lot of people, are hurting right now. I mean, I believe, especially with the whole SNAP EBT thing happening, a lot of people not being able to afford to get food, and in no world will I ever find that to be a funny thing, to make fun of somebody because they can't afford to buy food. I could be one of the biggest jerks on the planet, but I don't find anything funny about trying to. I don't find anything funny about people starving, and no matter what part of the world anybody lives in. So I'll just leave it at that. But like I said, these are the days. People like, why do you like to talk about money so much? And I always said the main reason why is because it's never about me trying to floss on anybody. It's all about me trying to be, have more, protections. People that are fascinated in gun culture, my folks from the South, y'all know what it is. It's not the fact that they want to look tough with, having a bunch of guns. They're not trying to look tough, or trying to show off or anything of that nature. At least most people I know that are avid, shooters, like to go hunting, and people that have a huge stockpile of guns. Hey, they want to feel protected in case an intruder comes into their house, protect themselves, specifically protect their families. I get that. I think that's a God-given right, regardless if we had the Second Amendment or not. But from an economic standpoint, it's another measure of protections for and all the financial experts have said this, if you lose your job, if the economy goes in the crapper, do you have a significant amount of revenue, i.e. financial savings, even though I hear that certain bank accounts are being frozen nowadays. Now, this is a scary thing. I never would have ever see. I don't remember hearing about this in 2007, 2008 economic downturn of people's bank accounts being frozen. Now, I know certain banks, smaller banks, regional banks, were absorbed or went out of business because of the lack of deposits. Because at the end of the day, and I've talked about this before, banks depend on people making daily/weekly deposits via their paychecks. So if people are furloughed, if people are not, if people are have lost their job, that means less money is coming into the banking system, and therefore that means the banking system has less money to sustain itself and to make investments, because that's the whole purpose of the banks. You know, they take your money, they the deposits you make within the bank, they invest that money in various different areas and whatnot, whether it's other businesses, other investments, even at times cryptocurrencies, stock, real estate, stock market, whatever the case may be. And then that's why you barely get anything back. That's why they say your money loses value when it's sitting in a bank account, but you barely get anything back, any dividend. Like I checked my bank account today, I think I got 93 cents back as a dividend on the amount of money I have saved in there. But anyways, case in point, if I'm making less deposits within the account and I'm making more withdrawals, then that's bad for the banking system. That's not only just bad for the me as the customer, but that's very bad for the banking system. So I've heard millions of accounts have been frozen, and how legal this is, I don't know. Which, once again, I can admit when I know something or I don't know something, but I can say is that would make for the future, whenever somebody gets back on their feet, that would make a customer in the future say, I never want to do business with this bank again. And of course, I'm going to blast it all over social media, the fact that I've been a great customer to this bank and they've screwed me over because of their lack of quote unquote, because of the state of the economy and whatnot. And this is why I'm an avid fan of having a credit union account and having a private account, because there's benefits in both bank accounts that one can get from being a part of a credit union, being a part of a private bank. Case in point, I'm a part of One United Bank, which is a private banking institution, Wells Fargo, private banking institution, but I'm also a part of Navy Federal. I'm also part of Penn Federal. So these are two credit unions, and so I've been able to leverage things economically from the private and the quote unquote government institutions. Or nonprofit government institutions. Why? Because everything has a benefit in its own little way. It's like, life is like I always say, working out in a relationship. There's always pros and cons. You got to weigh out the pros and you got to weigh out the cons. So at the end of the day, you can get it on. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my mindset. Or you know when to walk away, because no matter how much time you're with somebody, no matter what family line, relationships, friendships, certain things have an expiration date, and then certain things are forever. I think smaller things in this life, especially in today's digital world, are forever. And those are the things that matter. But most things in this life are not forever. Most friendships aren't forever. Most relationships aren't forever. And we all have to understand the difference. As much as you want to hold on to something, you got to let it go. It's like I'm 42 years old. That's like me going to the nightclub every weekend, like I was in my 20s and whatnot. That was that time of my life, and I don't do that anymore. Like I went out Friday to a karaoke bar. Okay. Was I out till 3 a.m? Absolutely not. And the only reason why I was out, because it was Halloween. I wanted to do something different. But do I do that on a regular basis? No. Most weekends I like to be in the house and not even deal with the outside world. Okay, so there's such a rat race during Monday through Friday and whatnot. Saturday and Sunday, the less driving around I do, the better, in my personal opinion. And I leave it at that. So, but nothing's supposed to last forever. 2007, 2008, people learned that nothing stays the same forever either. Nothing lasts forever and nothing stays the same forever. America went through a huge change in the job market, housing market. It took a long time for the housing market. I mean, I was able to take advantage of buying my house during that time, during the economic downturn. Some say that the only reason why the housing market hasn't gone to crap now is because you have so many corporations like a Blackstone who are buying up real estate. That's if you didn't have that corporate competition like you have now, then basically you would see you would see more prices of homes go down, regardless of what the Fed's rate cut is, just because there'd be a lack of demand. See, and that's the thing. But I will say, across the nation, in the last 3 months, I have received way more emails, because I'm a real estate investor, of so many houses on the market, from Arizona to California to Alabama to Indiana to Ohio. I mean, the list goes on and on. So many emails of houses up for sale and whatnot, because there's more sellers than there are buyers, and now more sellers are cutting the prices of homes because nobody can afford to buy houses. I mean, heck, houses aren't even selling like that in the DMV area because of the government shutdown, because, the federal government is one of the largest employers in the DMV area. And a lot of corporations have become rich off of the federal government in the DMV area. So it goes hand in hand, But anyways, I digress. Once again, I'm not making no political statements. I'm not saying yay or nay to any politician. Do what you do. Vote for who you vote for. Do what you got to do. I'm just ranting about specific topics here. But yeah, nothing stays the same forever. Eventually you evolve, you disappear, and that's the main reason why I started making content. I'm very passionate about money in regards to being able to save it, invest it, flip it, and then more and more people around you can get with it. You know what I mean? That's always been my mindset. But once again, I've learned in 2025 that, yeah, relationships and friendships don't last or stay the same forever. And that's cool. There's been a nice evolution in my life when it comes to friendships and relationships. And that's what it is. I know what I want. I know what I'm going after. And whether somebody wants to get with that program or not, that's up to them. But letting things go, letting people go is the only way we have to grow, and I've learned that in 2025. Stop holding on to the past. There's only one thing from my past that I've held on to, and I'm going to make that my future. But outside of that, everything else can kick rocks until we buy up the whole freaking block. 2020's already got my plans into 2026. I've been held back a little bit in 2025, but hey, I'm still alive, and I'm still going to go all out of my way to thrive. So on that note, family, do the great 3 free things. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great Sunday. Have a great day. Like I said, whatever platform you're watching this video on, do me a favor. Put something positive in it. Put a positive word, a positive moment in your life. That's all I ask for. But if you're watching, please do the great 3 free things. Like, share, and subscribe. Check out my YouTube channels, Larry's Anything Goes, LLC. Patterson L Properties, LLC. If you want to check out my online store, get some Make Money Moves products like you see with this hat right here, or any other products, please go to the store. If you want to contribute to the channel monetarily, my Cash App is $, Larry's Anything Goes. And of course, if you want to donate via PayPal or Venmo, links will be in the description. And if you're a stock market investor, crypto investor, individual or retirement account investor, don't forget to check out Webull, Stash, Acorns, Crypto.com, Coinbase. With all those platforms, you'll be able to make some money moves. I'll be able to make some money moves. And then if you want to refer other friends to do the same thing, and you'll be able to make some money moves. Passive income. If you have learned nothing of 2025, the amount of money you have saved and invested, and the way that you make it from a passive income perspective, is what's going to help you get through the next 10 years of your life. It's bigger than this current administration. It's bigger than the next administration. It's what are you trying to, as Richard Fain likes to say, put yourself in the economic position so that you don't have to self-proclaim economic submission. Because right now in 2025, so many people are proclaiming economic submission because of certain lifestyle choices that were made, and just because of the state of the economy. Certain things are just out of your hands. If things are in the crapper in the economy, you could have all the degrees on the planet, you could have all the job experience on the planet, but sometimes things just don't work out. There was a mother on TikTok, I forgot her name. She's a single mother, about to complete a master's degree, had a nice prestigious job within the federal government, was in the Army, so shout out to the veterans and current military members. But because of, because life does happen as much as we plan, life does happen, the cost of living and not being able to receive a paycheck for the majority of the month of October and whatnot, she's in the crapper. She has to go to a food pantry. So that's what I said, things are crazy. And that's why I say it's like, what's the point of having community if your community it's not even a community. Most people don't even have community. Most people have what I like to call competition. That's it. Basically, most people that are even friends and family members, they basically act like they're in a verbal boxing ring, or who can outshine the most boxing ring, instead of trying to be in a community ring where everybody's sharing and exchanging ideas, putting money and resources together and skill sets together in order to become more economically sound and more healthier with one another. That's the difference between community and being in competition. But anyways, have a great day. Make money moves so you can live like fools in Spanish. Bienvenido a la vida. Welcome to the life.